I celebrated my birthday earlier in March, and somehow I started to reflect on my life and life choices. This made me realize that I crave for a slower pace of life, doing the things that I love. I decided to make this video in a different style than my previous podcast episodes to share a bit of the things that brings me joy on a daily basis, which is not only knitting related but also homemaking and gardening and just regular day-to-day tasks that needs to get done. I will do a little sit down and share my current finished and works in progress projects with you. So if you love knitting podcasts, there will be a section here for that as well. Stay tuned. Time passes so quickly, and I'm always surprised to realize that the season is again starting to change. We just passed the autumn equinox here in South Africa, and I can already see the leaves turning on some of the trees on the farm. So far we had a lot of rain. We get rain in summer here where I live, and we keep records of our rainfall from January to December. And this year so far we are about 20 millimeters of rain away from the total amount of rain that we got for the whole 2024 as I am making this video. So far we had 440 millimeters for 2025 and only 467 millimeters for the whole year last year. I have to admit I left my garden to fend for itself the past few years, and I decided to get back into it and give it some well-deserved love. So when I checked my lunar calendar, I saw that it is an ideal time for pruning, and I decided to have a solo pruning party. I really enjoyed that, and here you can see a little before and after footage. Doesn't that look a lot better? I am enjoying some knitting time with these socks that is now both ready for their cuffs, while I waited for these sourdough sandwich loaves to bake. I had to go to the shop to fill up with some much needed groceries, and what I love the most about shopping for groceries is coming home and putting my items away. Filling jars and containers just makes me happy. I have loved it since childhood, and it was always my task to cut open all the bags and fill up the containers when we got home. And just like that, the socks are finished. Another beautiful pair for Anton that will keep his feet warm for the next few years. Luckily, I have a little bit left to add to my brioche memories blanket. I head to the kitchen to prepare dinner. We love fresh cauliflower and broccoli, and it makes an appearance in the pot up to 6 days of the week. I also love pasta and cheese, so that also made it to the pot for today's dinner. I take the finished socks to my craft room and prepare them to get washed. I remove all the stitch markers and place it back into the stitch marker holder and quickly take a picture of the finished pair on my sock blockers. Off to the bath they go. I fed my sourdough starter early this morning and I'm planning to make some sourdough flatbread or wraps. I can't really decide what to call these. I guess they're more wraps than flatbread. But I'm planning to make it for breakfast tomorrow morning, so I will start that now by mixing together 34 grams of fed starter, 110 grams of water, 160 grams of unbleached cake wheat flour and a 3/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I usually start the dough at the same time today as I want to cook the wraps tomorrow. I let my dough ferment for 24 hours. So if I want to cook them at 10 o'clock tomorrow, I mix the dough today at 10 o'clock. I mix until all the flour is incorporated, cover with a lid, and I do not do stretch and folds on this dough. I let it sit on the countertop until it has doubled in volume and then pop it into the fridge for the remainder of the 24 hours. While I am in the kitchen, I quickly prepare breakfast. Today we are having a frittata made of leeks, apples, eggs, salt and pepper, topped with a little bit of goat's cheese. After finishing the socks, I was wondering what to start next. I've previously tried to make the prism blanket, which is a free pattern by Pearl Soho, but I made a few test pieces and made it smaller squares, but I just cannot say that I loved the process, so I decided to look for something else. I want to use some 4-ply acrylic stash that I have and want to hold it double to make it a little thicker, and then decided to try making a chunky brioche memories blanket. And I am overjoyed to say that I love it. Using a bigger needle and holding the yarn double, create the squishiest squares. Is that a word? I have already measured and decided on the size of the blanket, but I will give more details on this when I do my sit-down project update later in this video. Later we went on our daily dog walk with Fluffy. She loves getting outside and going for a walk. Every new day brings its own tasks, and this morning there is a lot of laundry. I mentioned in one of my podcasts that I place my knitted tops in a pillowcase to wash them in the washing machine, but I failed to say that I put each top in its own pillowcase, knot it at the top and pop them in the machine with all the other washing. I also washed some socks and they are hanging here outside under the roof so that the sun do not bleach them. I am a bit protective of my hand knit items. This morning I am making the sourdough wraps for breakfast that I mixed yesterday. You can see the dough was not stretched and folded, but I promise the taste does not change. You can be more precise when dividing the dough into 4, but to be honest, I just eyeball it and that is good enough for the two of us. I put some flour on the counter and use lots of flour to roll out the dough into a flat circle. I stretch the circle a little by hand before cooking it. I add butter to a cast iron pan on medium heat. Put the wrap in the pan and cover it with a lid. Cook on both sides until cooked through and golden brown. They puff up and steam when they cook, and I always want to laugh when I see the big air pockets. We like to eat the wraps with some fried leek, apple and tomato, add some avo and goat's cheese and roll up. Delicious. It also goes very well with eggs. Right, I have a few minutes to spare and I thought let's catch up a little bit and chat about all of the projects that I've been working on recently. As you would have seen already, I have finished the socks for my husband Anton, and here they are. I really love how they came out. I am using large sock blockers, but the socks are a bit big. But that is how he likes them, so all fine by me. So when I showed these previously on the channel, I think they were about halfway through the foot. So both of them are done. I've weaved in all of the ends and they have been washed and blocked. And let me just give you a little bit of details. I used my own pattern, the DB Toe of Socks pattern for this pair, version 2, because there's 2 different versions in the pattern. And I made a 68 stitch sock. I started these socks on the 17th of February 2025 and I finished them on the 24th of March 2025. I used 92 grams of the yarn and I just had enough to add a little square to my Brioche Memories blanket. This is the yarn label. And the colorway information. And I really liked working with this yarn. I love the colors and I'm a little bit sad that these weren't for me, but I do have a lot of socks. So, right, let's see. What else do I have to say about these? I made them with 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular needles. I did a total of 160 rounds from after the toe until the cuff and a 20 round cuff. That includes my gusset increases. And yes, that is what he likes. Nice long socks that he wears with his boots. And I'm very happy about this pair. They are beautiful. So I'm very happy that I could show these to you because now I can give it to him so that he can wear them. Right, then I have two works in progress that I would like to share with you. Well, 3, but one is a failed attempt at a new project, I guess. Alright, so as you would have seen in the video, it was my birthday earlier this month and I got a beautiful gift from a friend and I started to make myself some convertible mittens. I don't think I shared a lot of footage of it in the video, but this is what I have so far. So this is the right mitten. And the left mitten is just before I graft the mitten top closed. So I must just graft it there. But this is the mittens. And this is what it will look like, more or less, when it is finished. I am really in love with this yarn. The sock set is beautiful. I love how the colors are coming together. Hopefully you'll be able to see and it does not blow out too much. But yes, lovely pair of mittens. I decided when I saw the sock set, I was like, this is gonna be mittens for me for this winter, because the colors goes with a lot of things that I have in my wardrobe. And even if it didn't, what does it matter? I have a beautiful pair of mittens. I decided to close the thumbs completely and not make a little cap for them as well. And I decided I'm going to try this. I can always open the thumb up and change it later if I really need to. But yes, this is what I have so far. very, very happy with them. Cannot wait to put them to the test. So this is the yarn all caked up. Very, very pretty. And this is a sock set from Knotty Habit, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon 3-ply fingering weight yarn with 366 meters on 100 grams. And that is the colorway name. And I am very happy about my little birthday gift, and that I'm able to make myself a beautiful pair of mittens. And there is going to be a lot of yarn left, so new squares for my brioche memories, and maybe even another item of some kind that I can make with the leftovers. So currently I am using a 2.5 millimeter needle for this project. I knit everything with a 2.5 millimeter needle except for this little ribbing cuff here. This I did with a 2.25 millimeter needle, just to get it a little bit more snug around the hand. And I'm calling these convertible mittens because if I understand it correctly, let me know if you know the answer to this. But as I understand, mittens is gloves without fingers. So even if it's just fingerless mittens, there is no distinctive fingers. That is gloves. So according to me, this must be then mittens, if I understand it correctly. Let me know if you have more information on this subject. Then after I finished the socks, I decided I need a new comfort knit, and I have a lot of 4-ply acrylic yarns in my stash, and I thought, let's make a little blanket. And then I started to make the prism blanket from Pearl Soho, which is a free pattern, and I made some sample blocks but smaller than the prism blanket blocks, and I really tried to like it but I just could not get the joy out of knitting on these squares. So I set it aside for a few days and I decided, let me just think about it. And then it hit me, why do I not make another brioche memories blanket? I really love the pattern, I love the brioche knitting, and I thought, well, let's try that. After I knit the first square, I decided, this is it, I'm making a chunky brioche memories blanket. So I am using 4-ply acrylic yarns from my stash that I have on cones and in various sizes and balls and things. I have made blankets from these yarns before, and this is all like leftover yarns, so I decided I'm just going for it. I've got full balls, leftover balls, let's just make a blanket. So I'm using 5mm needles for this project, and I'm gonna make a more or less single bed size blanket. And I wanted to make a big blanket for our bed, and then I decided, no, I'm gonna make single bed blankets because we only have 3 in the house, and they're very handy because if I am more cold, I can add a single bed blanket on my side of the bed, and if my husband is more cold, he can add a single bed sized blanket on his side of the bed, and we can add both if we are both cold. So I think that is brilliant, and I decided to make another single bed blanket size. So this is what I have so far. I think I'm gonna have 11 squares in a row. I currently have 8 squares, so I will just measure after I put on the 9th to see if I'm doing 10 or 11, because the last square of the row needs to be worked in a different manner because it needs a I-cord edge on the side. So I must decide where I'm gonna stop before I start the block. So I think we're gonna stick to 11 squares, but I just want to make 100% sure, because this is acrylic yarn and blocking will not make it stretch, I think. So I must just make 100% sure of the size. But I think 11, I still think 11 squares will do it. Yeah, I think 11 squares will do it. So that is what I have so far on my new project. Very happy with this. They are so squishy. And yes, I'm glad I made this decision. I really like brioche knitting, and I can use up some of my yarn stash. Alright, these are all of the projects that I have been working on lately. I have added 1 square to my sock yarn fingering weight brioche memories blanket, and I will show it to you sometime when I added a few more squares to it. So yes, that is it for this little section of projects. Please let me know in the comments down below what projects you are working on. I love to chat projects with you. I'm really enjoying this a lot. So let's see. That is what the purpose of crafting is. Isn't that right? Enjoying the process while making beautiful things. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you are working on, and let me know how you are doing. I would love to know. This month I have decided to deliberately slow down. I closed a few chapters in my life and made time for the real treasures in life. Time, health, a quiet mind, rest without guilt, a good night's sleep, calm days, and meaningful conversations. Enjoying my homemaking, dreaming up new recipes for some home-cooked meals for the people I love and who love me back. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Share your thoughts in the comments down below. May you have an amazing next month wherever you are in the world, and remember to make time for the real treasures in life. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here over these few days in March. I will see you soon in the next video.